Good morning, guys. I hope everything is going well. Uh, I wanted to pass on some information, guys. I have some documents that I'm going to post. I have to. I've had some changes administratively in the community REIT. And probably, I don't know, but there'll probably be some changes, and therefore, um, there's some information that I need to post that is vitally important, and that I believe you guys need to have. Okay. One of them is my compensation. My compensation is 15% ownership of the organization, putting together the architecture, landscape, developing all the relationships. Obviously, my financial investment is not to be recouped. I won't be recouping the dividends either. My dividends do not kick in for 6 years. Okay, all that is in the document. But for my participation, my role on the board, my role on the preliminary board, I'm going to receive 15% ownership. That's something that I'm designating to myself. But it's also a document that all stockholders have to sign. Okay. Um, that being said, um, let me update you on some things. I had a meeting yesterday with a gentleman by the name of Jason Hong. He is the executive vice president of Ennismore Hospitality. Okay. Jason and I met in relation to the vehicles that are going to be required in order to make the community REIT, which is internally the Heritage REIT, a very successful organization. Uh, Jason and I are committed to making this a success. So we had a conversation that I knew I needed to have. He just happened to pop up in town, which I know there was a move of God, but he happened to pop up in town, and we sat and we had the conversation last night at this little private hotel. Um, and we're looking at different vehicles. Ironically, there's a vehicle. When I say vehicle, I'm talking about type of hotel, or a better word in the REIT industry is the type of property that we're going to designate. And um, one of the main aspects of the property that we need to designate is uh, revenue. Uh, in this, you guys understand, even if you don't understand it, you've heard me say it so many times. Revenue is key. That's what we need is revenue. We have to get to the point where we are residually producing strong revenue and earnings. Okay, but in order to do that, we can't uh, buy or purchase a vehicle that is a doghouse and only produces $1 a day. We have to take the right vehicle or choose the right vehicle that is going to give the productivity we need. Okay. One of the things that I'm looking at is a community, you know, and I don't mean just us, our community reach. There are, you guys know that there are spaces that people pursue now. These spaces where they go and they meet and et cetera. Right? Well, um, there are entire communities based on that. Okay, and I'm thinking something like that. That's what I'm thinking about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look some stuff up and let's talk about it a little bit. Let's talk about it a little bit. Hold on just a second. Give me a moment. I'm going to pull this up and we're going to talk about it. I think this is very interesting. But the original property that we're talking about is called Habitats. Okay. Obviously, it's a play on habitat, right? The word habitat. And it means essentially uh, a concept that's based on the existing environment. What already exists in the world. The property that we were looking at had exotic animals, different types of goats, zebras, um, you know, uh, different types of deer, uh, typical, non-typical. Uh, had these huge, I forget what they call them, but they look like huge antelope. We're no lions and tigers, any of that, but just, um, you know, exotic, or I would say elegant animals. The ones like the gazelles, deer and things like that. Huge white-tailed deer. And if I'm not mistaken, there was almost 250 of them on the property. These huge trails, the Colorado River ran through it. So essentially, everything is about the habitat. So what Jason and I are trying to figure out is how can we add to that. So we're probably going to have a conversation um, with our guy Pete at Gensler, and get some of Pete's thoughts. So in any event, I wanted to update you guys. I'm going to be coming on every once in a while to continue to update you guys. The community readers is absolutely growing. It's amazing. We have over 2,500 people now ready to give January the 23rd. But we need a lot more. We need another another 38,000 people. Okay. So you guys get really keep telling people about the week and telling them how we're doing. Another thing I have to say is that I'm going to be doing lives at least twice a week, explaining. So every Wednesday and every Saturday, I'm going to be going live. And if those times change based on some due diligence or investigation, I see that uh, the other times are more beneficial, then that's the only thing that's happening. But I need you guys to know that I'm very resilient. I'm not going to give up on anything, and nothing is going to stop us from succeeding. I ran an evaluation the other day. I'm going to show you guys. Again, if you got patience, if you give me a little time, I think this is very impressive. And this is another simulation I drew up. Okay, this is another simulation I put together, and this is related to a sovereign fund for the United States. And this is going to be in my next book, or it's going to be in the book Manifest Destiny, which will be coming out sometime next week. All right. This is kind of long, but pay attention. It's called the Eternal Mandate. And let me put it, the Eternal Mandate. I call it Gateway Diaspora Investment and an Eternity Plan. Okay? The 100-Year Economic Covenant with the African World, prepared by Juan Reed, founding proxy, Gateway Sovereign Wealth Fund, author Black Manifest Destiny. Section 1, Foundational Ideology. The philosophical core. Faith without infrastructure is dormant power. Okay, that comes from my book, The Poverty of Purpose. The African diaspora must now translate faith, creativity, and cultural capital into measurable global wealth. Economic ideology. Diaspora capitalism. Wealth creation through collective diaspora participation. Equity sovereignty. The ownership of infrastructure, energy, and technology by the global African collective. Perpetual wealth transfer. Building financial systems that compound beyond one lifetime. Multi-generational compounding trust model. Faith as governance. Using moral institutions, churches, universities, community foundations, and centers of economic discipline and distribution. Section 2, Core objective, listen to this, build a $147 trillion black controlled asset base through strategic compounding, institutional investment, and social infrastructure development by 2045 or 2050. Doesn't that sound good? It's going to outlast all of us. Okay. Primary targets 29.5 million Black American investors at $250 entry, 61% net compounding growth annually through multi-sector diversification, secondary capitalization via African and Caribbean sovereign co-investments. Two, strategic framework, dimension, function, and purpose. Faith structure, 503c nonprofit foundation, endows churches, schools, and community centers with $2 billion year grants. In other words, this sovereign fund, this Black Sovereign Wealth Fund, only Americans, Black Americans, will give to the churches and Black churches $2 billion a year. $2 billion a year. Economic infrastructure, private equity, and sovereign fund. Invest in global infrastructure, AI, and renewable energy assets. I'm going to tell y'all something. I've said it before. First of all, I need you to know that AI is not going to make a lot of money. I told y'all that. AI is not going to make a lot of money. And if you look at any real investors, they'll tell you that AI is a temporary fix. And it doesn't take much to manage AI. That's the point. Once they build those data centers, it don't take many people running things. Educational infrastructure. All this is in the Black community, right? Gateway International Education Consortium partners with HBCUs, African universities, and trade schools to train the workforce. Now, y'all gotta understand this. Some of you won't grasp this, but you need to recognize this. The entire world is run on sovereign funds. The entire world is run by sovereign funds. Why do you think people are so impressed with Qatar and so impressed with Saudi Arabia? But you have to realize sovereign funds are not just in those places, they're all over the world. Nigeria has the sovereign fund. Did y'all know that? They have a sovereign fund. You know, the reason there is so much lack of respect for the Black community in the United States is, there's an answer for it. We don't have a community. And we're not accepted by Africa yet. Okay? But the same reason we aren't accepted is the same reason they understand we're in the position that we're in now. No community. Okay? So it's time we set the framework for that. So once we make the community REIT successful, you guys don't realize before me, all I'm doing is proving a concept that I have. And you guys are going to help me do it. Proving the concept that community works over sycophantic, immoral individuals becoming very successful and not giving back to their communities. We won't need them to give any damn thing because we'll create our own sovereignty. You understand that? We can do whatever we want to. We can strengthen our educational systems, and all this is in the system. I'm going to post this online eventually. I want you guys to go take a look at it. Okay. Economic plan and timeline. This is so much information that I have no idea. It took me a long time to do this. Conclusion African Eternity Initiative. That's what it's called. African Eternity Initiative. Now again, whether you guys want to believe it, we're African. They say we're being born in a certain place and never being accepted in their place. Tell them what. And there's no knock, there's no anger, because we have our own manifest destiny. We can't be angry at the white community for wanting their own thing. But it's time for us to have our own. And we don't need to harm anybody to get it. All we need to do is come together, coalesce to make money or produce things that make money. All right, guys, that's all I have to say today. But join the Community REIT, www.communityreit.com. Pass it on, communityreit.com, and let's make money. I'll be on again tonight at 6:30.